Let's make some Garganelli. Meet me over by the marble. Come on, let's do it.
Come on, let's do it.
We've done pasta before. Back, I think it was 03-04, Scratchola. We made the ravioli. So I'll just do an abbreviated version. Got my flour here, out on the marble. This is 300 grams, and you can mess around different flours, 0-0 is traditional, and then of course you have your semolina and water dough. We're making an egg dough. But I did use 75 grams of the semolina flour, and I don't have 0-0, so I used my bread flour, which is a staple here. So 75 grams, and then about 225 of the white bread flour. Just playing, just messing around. Each batch is a little bit different. I'll make my well. And then I've got about 165 grams of eggs. It's less important how many eggs than the weight to the flour. So I got about 165 grams to the 300 grams of flour, and I'm using mostly yolks for this one. You can use whole eggs. You can mix whole eggs with yolk. I want that deep yellowy pasta for my Garganelli. Gonna get a fork, and we just start with the eggs, okay? Mixing them up, just use the tips of the fork, and then as they start to break down, bring in a little bit of flour from the bottom. You don't want to break that wall. Look, we're almost breaking it. Got to be real gentle here and come from this side. Get some flour in there. Oh, we breached. It's okay. We'll survive. Try and get it solid as quickly as possible, and then we'll pull that egg back in. Now, I'm going to breach on this side too. So I'm just going to punch in a bunch of flour, try to get this thing solidified. At some point you do it anyway, so we're getting there. So let's pull that egg in. It'll all get squeezed right back in. And now we're about there where we can go in with the hands. And what also helps is you can get your dough scraper out for the board. This is where the marble comes in handy, because you can get a good flat scrape. So now we just start trying to get this all together into a dough. A little bit of semolina gives a little bite, a little tooth. But the bread flour will keep it light and silky. Okay, as I'm kneading it together, it's feeling a little dry. Going in with one more yolk. Just put it straight in. We'll bring it in with the kneading and the scraping. No water in this dough. Flour and egg. That extra egg brought it together nicely. Got a nice firm dough, and now I'm just going to knead it for about 10 minutes. We want to get those glutens worked up a little and get it nice and elastic. Okay? That evil word gluten. I feel awful even saying it. Not. Alright, I'll shut this camera off because I got a good 10 minutes of this. It's a good workout, by the way. And then we'll wrap it up. Alright, well kneaded after about 10 minutes on the marble here. Got myself a workout. Look at that beautiful color from those. Lighting sucks in here. And those beautiful fresh egg yolks laid between yesterday and today. Take myself a little Adams plastic shopping bag. You could use plastic wrap. You could put it in a bowl with a cover. The idea is just you don't want it to dry out. Okay? And we'll let that rest for about a half hour. And then what I'll do is I'll roll it out. You could use a rolling pin. I have the pasta machine. I'll roll it through the pasta machine to about number 4 or 5. And then we'll come back here for the sheets and make our Garganelli. I won't go through the pasta machine on camera because, again, Go back to Come On in My Kitchen 034 Scratchola. We made the ravioli. I did the whole thing with the pasta machine, rolling out the sheets. So half an hour, I'll roll. See you all back here on the marble to make Garganelli. Okay, we rolled out our pasta sheets. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make our Garganelli. So we want squares about 2 by 2 inches. Alright? Remember this one from your childhood? These are about 3.5, 4. So I'm going to go down the middle on these sheets. It's not quite 2. Doesn't look like to me. Maybe 1.5, 1 3/4. But that's fine. And now we want squares. Oops. Alright, let's start with a few. Get a little flour down here so they don't stick. And what I did is I made myself a little Garganelli dowel. Well, I found an old paintbrush, looked about the perfect size. I washed it, I cut it, I sanded it, washed it again, nice and clean. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take one of our sheets at the corner, lift up the corner here, roll it around the dowel, and when it meets at the bottom, we're going to press to get that to stick together on itself. I use my thumb there. It's not sticking. Hold on. Okay, so now we'll use the water trick. Put a little dollop of water on there, just like we did at the edges of the ravioli. Press. Garganelli. Right? They're kind of like penne, but penne is extruded. These are rolled. So, let's do one more. I think the water is the way to go. On the corner. There we go. They'll hold together when they dry. So I'll do a bunch more, and then we'll sauce them up. Alright, a few left. Look at them. Garganelli. Now, Garganelli, usually, traditionally, these are just smooth and flat because I'm rolling them on the counter. You can and probably should use the little, I can't remember the name of it, the little board that you roll gnocchi on. It's a little wooden board and it has striations in it, so when you roll them, it gives the nice ridges. But flat is fine too. It's on my wish list. I'm going to get one of those. But 3 left. The nice thing is you do this, you get into a rhythm. The first ones were a little iffy, and then you just start cranking them out. This is my first time with this particular pasta, by the way. But you get yourself in a rhythm, and it starts moving nicely. And I'm loving my little dowel. By the way, I did notice, what I do is I shoot a clip, and then I go up and I drop them onto the hard drive, and I sort of like, I don't edit, but I drop them in and give them a quick look to make sure they're okay. And I realized I didn't put the microphone on. So the audio is a little iffy, but I think it's passable. So I'm not going to put it on for the rest of the show because I don't want to have to try to match up all the volumes. So there's a nice plate of Garganelli. Now I'm just going to let them sit. I put a little semolina on the plate. I'll drizzle a little on the top. And we're just going to let these dry while we make our sauce. Let's head over to the stove.
Come on, let's do it.
Alright, what should we do with our beautiful Garganelli? They've been out for a while. They're a little bit dried. These things will cook in 1 minute. I got some water on, salted water, coming to a boil. We're going to do a real quick sauce. I did a faux one back many episodes ago with some dried pasta. I say faux because I didn't have olives in the house, but tonight we're doing it legit. I have everything. We're going to go Garganelli alla puttanesca, alright? Pull down some of the herbs from the kitchen windowsill. We got some parsley, little oregano, some basil, garlic, anchovy, the ultimate combo, one of the great starters of all time. Obviously extra virgin olive oil, some Kalamata olives. I just pitted those and chopped them. Always buy them with the pits in. Don't buy the pitted olives. They stay much moister, much more flavorful. Get yourself a little olive pitter. Got mine here. And besides which, they're much less expensive. They're always going to charge you for the labor, right? I'm going with, you can use San Marzano Roma. Some people use a little tomato paste. I'm going tonight with these beautiful Cento little whole cherry tomatoes. And of course capers. Garlic, anchovy, olive, caper, tomato. How can you go wrong? Puttanesca. Puttana. Alright, let's start cooking. Water's at a rolling boil already, but I turned it off because this sauce is going to cook for like 15-20 minutes. Okay? Olive oil. And we'll let this olive oil warm up a little. I've told you in the past I like my garlic in cold oil and coming up warm, but I did not chop this garlic this time. You can for this dish. I just smashed it real well. And then you can either take them out or leave them in. I love smashed garlic cloves like this after they cook a little. I think I still have a little skin in there though. Let me get that. Alright. So we'll go in with our garlic and anchovy first. Start mashing up those fish. I've told you before, they'll basically disappear. They're a seasoning. They're like our salt. Still don't understand why people are so afraid of them. Garlic and anchovy is one of the great, I'll say sofrito style things of all time to start your dish. And turn the heat down a little hot. And we want these garlic to start getting just a little toasty golden on them. Do not burn your garlic. You always want to keep a good eye on it. Okay, that's a little low. I can turn it back up again a little. And now we want some, ooh, that aroma. A little pepperoncini, crushed red pepper. Puttanesca. This was a sauce ostensibly served by prostitutes, puttana, to their customers. I don't know. That sounds weird to me, but that's what you read, that's what you hear. Okay. It smells unbelievable already. Now I'm going to take some of these whole cherry tomatoes with the liquid. Put a good amount in there. Basically a tomato-based sauce. Start giving them a little smash. Okay, now I can really lower this heat for the simmer. Let's pop in our Kalamata olive. A few capers. I just used the back of the spoon I was using for the tomatoes. I like capers. I'm gonna go for it. And now, just season it up. A little bit of salt. I realized I'm just about out of crushed black pepper. That's okay. We got the pepperoncini in there. Actually, here's a few. I keep the grinder on this little ceramic. So we got a few grains there. And just a pinch of sugar, plain old table sugar. Because remember, you got the salt from the anchovy, you got the olives, you got the capers. We want to cut that a little bit. All right, now we got no heat, so let's turn it up a bit. And now let's just add a touch of fresh herbs. Put in a basil leaf or two. We'll put in a little fresh oregano. And that's all we need. We're going to put the parsley on the dish when we serve it. Always my favorite finishing herb. So a little basil and a little oregano to simmer into our sauce. Let's give that a little taste. Oh, it's so briny with the olives, the anchovy. It's so good. So let me just lower this a touch, and we'll let that simmer for 15, and then we'll be back to drop our pasta. The water's at a full roll. Let's drop these macaroni. I am so psyched. Nothing like fresh pasta. And these are going to cook in a minute, maybe two. Let's give them a little separation so they don't stick together. Even more important than with the dried. Got a little stray oregano leaf in there. Alright, look at our puttanesca. See how it's dried up a little? Those liquids have evaporated, that tomato juice liquid. The flavors have condensed down. It's intense. I gave it a little taste. And this is another one where we're going to cook that pasta right in the sauce for a little bit. Okay, let's do this. Take our Garganelli straight from the water, right into our puttanesca. Let's add just a touch of that pasta water to help everything come together. And I'll take our spoon. I've told you this before. That pasta has released its starch into the water. It's now drinking back up this sauce. Okay? Let's crank the heat up a little. We want to cook this a little. Beautiful. I can smell it from up here. Okay, fresh pasta. You never want to overcook it. You just wanted it to drink in a little sauce. Let's now plate it up. Three ounces. Let's just go with it. I'm hungry. Alright, let's dress this up and give it a shot. Meet me over at the board. Let's dress this up very simply. A little fresh flat leaf parsley. And mandatory, a little grated cheese. I'm going with what I have in the house, grana padano. You could use locatelli, you could use romano, parmigiano reggiano. Garganelli alla puttanesca. Let's see what we got. These fresh Garganelli. Oh man. Fresh pasta. From the girl's eggs made with the yolks. Semolina and bread flour. Unbelievable. This is phenomenal. First of all, those Cento cherry tomatoes were a beautiful choice. Here we are at dead mid-February. Winter's half over. I just planted tomato seeds. You know I have cherry tomatoes on my mind. The brininess from the anchovy, the olives, the capers, with the garlic. This is a great sauce and it's so freaking simple. Highly recommended. And by the way, great sauce for dry pasta too. Spaghetti alla puttanesca is a classic. Vino rosso, mandatory. Garganelli alla puttanesca. Come on, let's do it.
Come on.